Hi, this is Jason at Caney Creek. We're going to go over just a few simple things as far as when you're injecting, if you're having problems getting a good injection, kind of some troubleshooting tips, maybe a couple new techniques that you may or may not want to try. What I've got together here is I actually have 2 swim shads and a 6-inch carrot. The first thing I want to point out on these is notice, I mean, they're clamped really well. If all these were the same length, I'd probably just have 2 clamps on them. I always use 2 clamps, even on a short mold like the swim shad. Because the 6-inch regular size, full-size carrots in here, I went ahead and stuck an extra small clamp on the back. Probably didn't need to, but I wanted to have it on there anyways. So what I'm hoping to illustrate is, perfect baits. I'm going to shoot this one. I'm not going to top this one off and let air suck down into the head. And then on this one, I should run out of plastic, and so we'll see what happens when you inject air into a mold as well. And we're going to be doing all this with clear plastic so that we can see the imperfections in it really well and talk about them. So I'm going to go ahead and heat up the plastic, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so we've got our plastic hot. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to recommend it or say that it's safe or anything else, but I am going to do something, and for a very specific reason. Rather than pulling the plastic up into my injector, I'm going to actually pour it in, and that's one way that I can make 100% sure that there's no bubbles in there. So from an official Caney Creek perspective, I'm not endorsing this method, but I am going to do it, and just so you know why. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and inject the first mold, and you can see it's a swim shad. I just inject it down, pull it off, and then I just fill the sprue up. This mold in particular doesn't, I top it off like that. It's going to suck down a little bit. Don't normally need to put any more on there. I'll put just a drop. The next one is a 6-inch carrot. I'm going to shoot it, and I am not going to top it off. And it's going to draw down, and it's going to get air in the head. The next one that I wanted to do hopefully I don't have enough plastic in here. I wanted to short shoot it. So let's give these just a second to set up. Actually, let's leave it on. I do want to show you kind of another trick. You can actually remove your clamps before the mold's totally set up, and you can crack them. And what that does is it allows air to pull evenly across the bait versus just via the sprue or the vents, whatever venting's in the mold. So let's go ahead and open these up. Okay, here's a really good example of that last one that I just did. So these are still warm, but I wanted to show, Alex, if you can zoom in. I'll turn these guys sideways. So this is the one where I didn't have enough plastic in it. You can see the runner. So this is the sprue. This is the runner, and then where it connects to the bait is called a gate. And you can see the sprue and the runner on this are hollow, and then there's air that goes into the head. Same thing on this one. Not on this one, but you can see that, because that's towards the end of the injector, there was air in it, and you can see, I know there was air in the injector because it's the air is being pushed all the way through the bait. It's actually through all the baits. So this really illustrates 2 things. It illustrates air in the injector, right? So you can see it in the baits. It's a line of air bubbles. And it also illustrates not topping the mold off, or the mold sucking dry, which creates a straw, and then the air lines into the head. So that's that. This on the carrot should be a really good example. I totally ran out of plastic on it, but you can see basically what happened here. Again, it's a total straw, and then you can see how there's air in the heads, and then I didn't even have enough air to fully inject them, so that one's a real mess. On these three, remember, we poured it in there. We knew there was no air in it. We topped it off, and by looking at the baits, you can see right here on the sprue, you can see where the air stops. It stops right there, so it sucked down a little bit, but it never even left the runner. There's no air at all in the runner, and consequently, there's no air at all in the baits or the head of the baits. And then you can see that there's no air actually throughout. I mean, there's not even a micro bubble in any of these baits, and that's an indication that there's no air at all in my injector. So, I guess the key takeaway is whenever you're having trouble injecting a bait, use clear plastic, because it'll tell you an awful lot. Just kind of going back and comparing these two together. If you have a straw and lines into your head, your mold's running out of plastic. If you have bubbles in the bait, there's air in your injector. This could have been totally full and just had air, say, in this middle bait. That means that somewhere in my injector I had a big air bubble and it got injected into my bait. And then again, here's a perfect example, and it really just indicates that I had no air in my bubble, or no air in my injector, and plenty of plastic in my mold. So hopefully these tips are helpful. If you run into a problem and doing it like this doesn't, you can't kind of troubleshoot it by yourself, then if you can post a picture on the forum of some clear baits, it'll make it really easy to figure out exactly what's going on, maybe by somebody that's been doing it a little bit longer or more familiar with the mold. So hopefully you found this helpful. Make sure and be safe, follow all the safety precautions, and have fun.